Welcome to Beyond the Game More Stories, the podcast where we explore the lessons sports teach us about life, leadership, adversity, and just overall growth long after the final whistle blows. I'm your host, Dwayne Lightfoot Jr. On this show, we sit down with athletes, coaches, parents, leaders, and just ultimately people to just have real conversations about the moments that shape us, the different challenges, the victories, big and small, the setbacks, and the experiences that stay with us long after the scoreboard goes dark. All right, so let's hop into today's episode of Beyond the Game More Stories. Today's guest is someone that I'm really excited to sit down with and just kind of learn more about his personal story. You know, it's always really special when you get a chance to talk to somebody that you shared the court with and just competed against. So he's someone I competed against for a couple years in high school, cheered for him, and just over the years, I developed a lot of respect for him through the different battles and everything that we went through, and just kind of shared the overall lessons that we came to learn through this game of sports. He started at the University of Louisville, where he left his lasting mark on both the program and the city as a whole. He's known for his leadership, toughness, ability to step up in the biggest moments, and he helped lead the Cardinals to the 2005 NCAA Men's Final Four, where his outstanding performance earned him the Albuquerque Region Most Outstanding Player honors. After his time at Louisville, he went on to have an incredible professional career playing overseas for about 20 years. But his story goes beyond just the different highlights that everybody sees. Originally growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, he became one of the greatest players, in my opinion, in the history of Louisville Male High School. Ultimately, he became a hometown hero, and his journey is a powerful example of overall dedication, perseverance, and believing in the work when no one else is watching. Today, he's the host of the Player's Perspective podcast, a podcast that blends conversation about sports, life, and sometimes just a little bit of bourbon along the way. So as we go beyond the box score and just hear the stories that go beyond those moments that shaped his career and his life. So please help me welcome Larry O'Bannon. LO, how are you doing today, sir?
Man, I don't know if I deserve all of that praise.
Oh, man,
It,
you deserve way more,
but
man. You
I
know that.
appreciate it.
I've seen it.
Man, it's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm excited. I'm excited that you're in the podcast game, Dwayne. Man, like I said, we've been knowing each other, competing against each other off the court. Man, excited to be here and chop it up with you, man.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everything you're doing. But because you're doing this, it means more to me than I could express, man, So I appreciate you taking the time. I know your schedule's busy, family, sports, everything you got going on there, man. So with kind of, with what we're doing with the podcast, I want to really just touch into a lot of different aspects. So before we hop into all the different accomplishments and just everything people see on and know about Larry O'Bannon on the surface, I always want to start at the beginning, because this podcast is about, the person, not just the player, not just the athlete, the stats, the highlights, everything like that. So to kind of set the table for everybody listening, if you think about it, if someone only knows you from your highlights or just from people that you work with, what's something that they don't know about how you ended up getting here?
It all started with my family, to be honest with you. That's where my inspiration came from. Coming from a family of athletes, my dad played ball, my mom played ball. My dad was more so a football player. I had two sisters that was athletes. My sister, Sharonda, she played at the University of Cincinnati, then transferred to Bellarmine. She was All-American at Bellarmine. My sister, Shanika, she played basketball a little bit, but she was more so a track person. So, man, just a family of athletes, and just playing against them is where it all started. But for me, man, I played basketball just because it was something to do with my friends, my cousins. We all played, got together, and I was always known as the kid with glasses. Most time you see me, I got glasses on, and I was always taller than everybody my age, man. So people always thought I was older than what I was, and you kind of get picked on a little bit. And so, for a sense of me, man, basketball was a way of not only making friends, but a way of kind of being kind of like cool, right? It was a way for me to be cool, but also it was something I wanted to be respected in. Like basketball, that was my ultimate goal. It's like wherever I go, any park, any pickup game, I want people to say, "Hey, man, like he's a hooper. He could play." That was really all I wanted to do. I just wanted to play, and I just wanted to have the respect of when I played. But just a lot of hard work, man. Playing in the parks. I know it's kind of a lost art these days of playing outside, playing in the parks. But just playing in the parks, traveling around to different parts of the city to play in, and just a lot of hard work, man. Trying to buckle down in school, get my schoolwork down. Had a couple setbacks, but other than that, man, just family, hard work, and just putting in a lot of time really at the park and just playing at the park. We didn't necessarily do a lot of training like kids do now. It was like just kind of going to the park and playing by yourself or playing 5-on-5. And it just led to a lot of the success that I ended up having on the basketball court.
That was just kind of the way our generation went, whether it's Shawnee Park, Seneca Park, you would go to parks back then and you got 1 to 2 courts full, people waiting, people watching, all of that. I'm down here in Florida now. I ride by empty parks every day.
Yeah, I think
There's nobody out there. It is just crazy to think about it and see because, like I said, that's how we developed. It's crazy to think of, where the game has gone now with reclasses and I know we and people had took the COVID year. We're dealing in the AAU circuit now with double reclasses. It's like our generation growing up, our goal was to be playing with the older guys, but now
right,
everybody wants to be the
right.
older guy playing with the younger guys, and it's just crazy to see just kind of that transition, especially with, like you said, all the different resources they have. I mean, there's people who have personal shooting machines. They totally miss out on the fun and the joy of having to rebound every shot that they put up.
Right.
You're at the park, it hits that edge of the concrete and it rolls down the street. They don't understand that struggle anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But so kind of doing in a lot of this, getting ready to speak with you today. Like I said, we've known each other for almost 30 years now. We go back to, I'm a year older than you, so about 98, 1998. We started competing against each other in a very one-sided rivalry. It was I had again, I went to J Town, but in listening to you talk about your journey and kind of what got you here, you talked a lot about your parents and your sisters and just all the different sports that they played. I didn't know that you actually played football in middle school. And learned that you were actually very good. And a lot of it, we never really know that, like you said, you were one of the taller kids. I hit my growth spurt really in high school. But we never really know that we're going to become 6'5", 6'6", run like a gazelle and be able to effortlessly just jump out of the gym. But just kind of thinking about it, especially going to a school like Mel that has a huge tradition at football, and from that moment you got there, it seemed like your focus was on the basketball. What made you kind of not look at doing the football route, especially being able to be out there with guys like a Montrell Jones, a Chris Barclay, Mike Bush? Because if I'm a DB and I see Montrell on one side and you on the other side, I think that would just have been a dynamic, receiving core for a team to have. And even though they did win 2 state titles while you were there.
You know what's funny, man, is a lot of the guys, even to this day, that we come up playing football together, and that's how we met. Guys knew me for football. Now I didn't even know I played basketball.
Hmm.
A few NFL like guys like Chris Barclay, Montrell Jones, you talked about. What's the guy I went to Manual? Keenan Burton, Mike
Ken.
Bush. We all played in the Muhammad Ali League, and we all were like top players in the league. And so for me, I played on the same team with Montreal. Montreal was a quarterback, and I was the wide receiver. And I ended up switching to quarterback because Montreal got hurt. But man, I really enjoyed football. Football was good. It wasn't something that I just started playing on my own. My dad wanted me to play and kind of pushed me into it. And I like playing. I didn't necessarily like the hitting in practice. I didn't necessarily like that aspect. But the reason I stopped playing is because I knew my heart wasn't in it. Like I enjoyed playing, I enjoyed playing when the weather was warm, but when it got cold, I didn't want to play
Hmm.
anymore. I
Indoor
did,
sports.
I did not want to play. And,
Yeah.
and when I got to mail, man, my dad, I think it hurt my dad the most, man, because my dad, like I said, my dad was a football guy, and he really wanted me to play. He's like, man, you could have went Division 1 in football. I said, I know. I'd have been a Division 1 free safety. I said, I don't know if I had the speed to really play wide receiver. I said, but as a defensive back, I could have been a D1 free safety, or a
Hmm.
D1 like goal line guy. Like, cause I was always like the athletic guy that you just throw it up on the end zone. I was just gonna go and get it. But man, basketball was my passion. That's what I
Hmm.
love. That's what I want to work on. That was always my dream of wanting to play basketball. So football was something I did because I was good at it, and it was because it was in season. But I knew all along that I wanted to focus on going to basketball, and I had my dream set. Oh, I was going to UConn. That was where I
Hmm.
wanted to go. I had it all mapped out that I wanted to go to UConn, and that's where I wanted to go and play at, man. So once I got to Mail, Coach Redmond tried his best. He tried to get me with the guys. He tried his best, but I just told him my past, man, that I was going to focus on basketball.
Yeah, and I think that's a story that a lot of us had. You know, you walk into, my sophomore year, I grew to 6'5". You know, football coach at J Town, and he ultimately ended up getting me to play one year. But they see you, they see the athleticism, they see that you can jump, and a lot of it back then. Oh, you can be a good tight end, or oh, you can be this receiver. And it just, for me, like you said, I didn't like the physical aspect of it. I will tell you, there was a guy by the name of Jeremy Johnson, played at
Mm.
Ballard. He is the reason my high school career ended. He hit me one time. For
Yeah,
those who
but
don't know, Jeremy Johnson was a 280-pound running back at the high school level, and
mhm.
he did not take prisoners. So yeah, no, I
Went on to play in the NFL for the
played
Bengals,
for the
man.
Bengals. Yeah, and
Mhm.
but again, he ended my career. So, but you talk about, even though the being hit, that's something that I see is, and it happened for me as well, that carried over to your basketball. It allowed you to be more aggressive, be more confrontational. You drive to the basket, you can take that hit, or you can initiate that hit, still get your balance. So a lot of people who focusing on one sport real early on, they miss out the different benefits that they can get from playing other sports, because a lot of those skills transfer over. And I think that's something that was very huge. If you're playing a baseball, things like a hand-eye coordination, can transfer over. But
I agree 100%, man. Football definitely made me tougher. I could take a blow. I didn't like getting hit, but I could take a
Mhm.
blow. But I love dishing it out, and I
Mhm.
love playing defense because I was the one initiating and hitting the contact. I love hitting people. I was always kind of naturally strong, and so playing football, man, just made it easier for me. Like somebody said, a hard screen knock you down. Get up. It's no different than being tackled or getting bumped, a head bump or elbow
Yeah,
or something like that. You chalk it up and you keep moving, man. So football definitely brought about a toughness,
yeah.
physical toughness when playing basketball.
Yeah, and that's something what you said is something that I teach the kids I work with, right? I'm teaching them that physical aspect of it, and I'm teaching you to initiate, because, like you said, when I initiate, I know how hard I'm going to get hit because I'm hitting them, and I also know where exactly I'm going to be hit at, so I can
Mm-hmm.
prep for that, before the actual contact even comes.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, like I said, you went to the hollowed Louisville Male High School, a football program, but also a basketball program, especially during your time there. Um, and let's go back to the 1999-2000 season. Here we are, we're setting up, we got our district tournaments, we go through that, and we enter the regional tournaments, right? Teams win their first game, and we're set for the semifinals, right? On one side of the bracket, there is Male and the reigning defending state champion Ballard, right? Everybody's predicting Ballard to win. You guys were ranked in the nation too, but everybody was like, oh, they got the three towers. And then on the other side, you had Manual and this lowly old J Town team, right? And I'll be honest with you, I in that moment, when we won districts that year, I said to myself, we have a chance to play for the state tournament. And ultimately, it didn't end up happening because, again, the way that you guys played, JB, Johnny, LeVar, you guys were able to go out and what some people consider was an upset, beat Ballard. I think it was two very, very comparable teams. Went on to beat Manual for a third time that year. And then went on to what I would consider was a very loaded state tournament with just a lot of guys. You had the Perry County Centrals in there. You had Lexington Catholics. I think Scott County was out there that year as well. Very, very loaded state tournament. So just kind of looking back, what did you learn from earlier seasons that kind of helped prepare you and your team to rise up for that moment when everything was on the line and here you are playing in Rupp Arena?
Well, that year we weren't nationally ranked. We were just a solid team in the state of Kentucky. We were one of the top teams, but we were probably second. Predicted to finish second or third in the seventh region that year. Ballard had just come off a state championship. They had just about everybody on their team coming back. They had a college style starting lineup. They went 6'9", 6'8", 6'6", five
Six
ten, and
six
six.
three that can jump out of the gym.
Yeah, and he came off the bench. He came
Yeah,
off the bench. Adam Childs, a
yeah,
D1 side 6'3". Well, I ain't gonna give him 6'3". Adam about 6'3". Adam about 6'1"
yeah,
and a half. But
yeah,
played a lot bigger than what he was, and he came off the bench.
yeah.
And so early in that year, man, we had played them, and they came into Mayo. They beat us at home, and it was a good game, man. It was a good game, but they beat us, ended up beating us by like about 10 points, eight to 10 points, and we just thought that we had something. And like, man, if we played them again, we knew how to guard, like make them shoot outside, pack it inside, play a little zone, and we could just rebound and run, right? And so, man, it turns out we end up winning our districts. We got a home game. I want to say I can't remember who we beat the first round, first game. Um, and then we matched up with Ballard. And so I never forget, we had to play them at Fern Creek. I'm not sure what the reasons was, but we
I,
had to
I
play.
can tell you why. We played at Seneca. There was something that happened at Louisville Gardens that year. I don't know if it was a something happened late, and they had to move them to two different sites. And that was the only chance I would have ever had to play at Louisville Gardens because I never played in the LIT. So I was
Oh,
heartbroken I didn't get to play in Louisville Gardens.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so, man, we played at Fern Creek. And I just remember, man, like you talking about, like, it was beyond standing room only. It
Hmm.
was actually the fire department really would had to like try to get people to leave because it was like a fire hazard. But like you had to ask people to step out of the way just to even take the ball out of bounds. I just remember it, man. It was packed in there, and so we were playing, man, and ended up going into overtime. And I want to say uh, uh, Mac Wilkerson and Mac Wilkerson and Cedric Knight fouled out. And
Hmm.
so that was two of their biggest lineups. So it was like they had Brandon Bender, and then they played small ball. And once they went small ball, they like this was it. And I'm like, that's the only advantage that you guys have was that you guys were a lot bigger than we were. But once we kind of neutralized that height, and you guys went small ball, we knew we were the better team. And so, man, I just remember we came out. They tried to go zone. We busted the zone up, and just a game of athletes and just high level competition, man, that we were fortunate enough to win in overtime. And then after that, we went on and we played Manual, like I said, who we had previously beat twice. We beat them in the regular season. We beat them for the district championship. And then we beat them for the regional championship out to Broadbent Arena. And man, it was just a wonderful feeling, man. It's something that, I still kind of talk about and mess with the guys with to this day. They talked about we messed up their state run of back to back, and I was like, man, the only reason y'all got the first one is because Scott County played an overtime game. I said
Hmm.
Scott County, y'all played Scott County 4 times that year. I said Scott County had washed y'all 3 times.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
washed y'all, and I said then the game before. They had the semifinal, which you play at 11 o'clock. They had an overtime. I
Same day.
don't know if it was an overtime or double overtime game, and they were a shooting team with like Rick Jones, A.W. Hamilton,
Spike
and
Lee, Casey also. Yep.
yeah, Casey also, man, and like they lit it up. And so by the time you guys got them in the final, I said they were just dead legged and missed all those shots. And you guys, you beat them. I said, but all things being equal, I said they'd have washed y'all again the fourth time. I
Yeah.
said, so y'all
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
lucky on that one. I said, so you won't call a spade, man.
Yeah.
You guys, it was a great thing because nobody can ever take it from you, man. Nobody can
Oh
ever
yeah.
take it. Just like nobody can ever take the fact that we were back-to-back seventh region champs. We beat you guys, but all things being equal, man, it was just our night.
Yeah, no, and I want to get into that second one, but I look back on it and it's crazy because somehow y'all's, even though y'all went to overtime, y'all's game got ahead of ours, and word started getting around that y'all beat Ballard while we're still playing. So we're
Mm.
on the floor talking about it. Was like, man, it's fair game now. This is anybody's now.
Right,
Not knocking you guys at all or
right.
anything, but we're all at this point in time we're confident. But
Yeah.
y'all were probably the only team that could match up with them size wise.
Dallas was
Ballard,
Goliath. Yeah, they were
yeah,
Goliath.
yeah. So we looked at it and y'all did that. And I remember I went to the game. Bitter. I went to the game at Broadbent and watched you guys beat them. And I was actually standing behind the bench when y'all. I was standing behind y'all's bench when the final horn rang, and watched y'all celebrate. So a couple days after my career ended, I enjoyed again.
Yeah,
It's all in competition, man.
we played
We've all battled for years.
Rob King, Brian Thornton, James
Yeah,
Booker. Yeah, we watched about 20, man. We
yeah,
what those games weren't really close that year. Ballard
yeah,
was the team that really gave us the most challenge. But man, yeah, I don't think I ever lost a man in my 4 years in high
yeah.
school. We always
It was
kind
a
of won.
very that was also a very one-sided rivalry too. Uh, both on the football field
Football
and
and basketball.
and on the
Watch,
basketball
man.
field. So, but like you said, you guys went back to back, and just kind of the experience that you guys had in the 2000 season, now here you come, it's 2001, you're coming off of that, and now it's your turn to lead, and you played with some great players, you guys before you, we talked about, you had JB, you had Jermaine Burks, you had Shoemate, and you're sitting there, guys like Jeff Young, and you're sitting there, in your back pocket, you got you, LeVar, Johnny, and here you guys go again. Now it's yours time. You guys are now the hunter, not the hunted. So kind of tell me what how kind of going through that. Which teammate or coaches do you feel help prepare you the most to step into that leadership role that you had your senior year?
Well, man, going back to the year before when we beat Ballard, we played. I want to say we played Oldham County the first game, and we beat them, and then we ran into Lexington Catholic, and Lexington Catholic beat us. But at the time, they were just a better team. They were older team, more mature team. They played
Mhm.
really well, coached well,
Yeah, Matt
and
Heisenbuttle, Ben Wilson, all of them.
yeah, and they beat us, man. They took us to school, and
Yeah.
I never forget that. But I never forget the experience of playing in Rupp, man, and playing in the lights, and being there, running up and down that floor. Run up and down that college floor was different. Playing in that
Hmm.
high school floor, that was for sure.
Yeah, much bigger court.
It was different, but man, it just really fueled a fire. Coming back into our senior year, and we had a lot of guys returning. We lost Jermaine Burks from that year,
Hmm.
but we had some key guys ready to step up and make key contributions. Like you said, I think I had 5 Division I players on my
Hmm.
team. I had Leslie Powell, who went to North Carolina A&T. I had Johnny Mathis, played at Creighton. I had Mike Bush, NFL running back, could have played Division I basketball. I had LeVar Carter, who went to Marshall. Jeff Young walked on at Western for a little bit. Adam Burks, baseball player. So man, we had a Greg Ballard, another baseball player. Man, we had a good group of guys, man, and a talented group. And so coming back, we were confident. We didn't feel like we were kind of like how Ballard felt when they won the state championship, and coming back that next year, but they felt like they were the team to beat. So coming in, we felt like we were the team to beat, and we had some slip ups that year, man. We played out of town teams. We would go and win all our Christmas tournaments, beat these nationally ranked teams, but we would have slip ups at home. In the LIT, we would lose to Bowling Green, a team that we beat by 25 in the preseason. We lost in the district championship. We lost to St. X. It was always teams that kind of played us zone that would give us trouble, man. And so fast forward, the rest of the teams, everybody, I don't know why everybody else played us man to man. And so when we played man to man, like we pretty much washed everybody. And we get to Ballard, and we didn't get to play them because they scheduled too many games in the regular season. And so we didn't even get to play them the last game of the year, which was scheduled. And, if you ask me, I think they did it on purpose. But nonetheless, we didn't get to, man. And, man, we had some awesome battles with Moore. They had Carlos hurt. Man, Carlos, yeah, Carlos came in, man, and did his thing, put on a show. We had some epic battles, man. We beat them in the regular season. Then we had to play them in a regional tournament. They jumped out on us early, and then we had to come back, had to beat them, and we jumped on Seneca. Seneca had some young guys, jumped on them, and then we met Ballard in the final at Louisville Garden. And so it was just the ultimate matchup because, like, they had Brandon Bender, U of L signee. They had Adam Childs, who was going to UK. They had a few other guys that was really good players, really good athletes. And so, but we felt confident the whole way. It was like, because we got our whole team back, and y'all got some guys. I got a few guys back from last year, but y'all not what y'all used to be. And then the championship game, and I actually got a foul trouble in the first quarter. I was like, oh, man. But my teammates played well, and we ended up beating them. We ended up beating them by like almost 20 in the championship game. And so we were confident, maybe too confident going to the state championship, because we felt like Ballard was really the only team that was going to like give us a hiccup. And so, man, got there, man, and some teams played us tough. North Laurel played us tough. Oldham County played us tough for a half. Dante Smith and Eric Johnson, they came out, played us tough for a minute. Then North Laurel really played us tough. After that, I think we played Oldham County, North Laurel. We played Squeaky Johnson. That's who we done. We played Squeaky Johnson going to Russellville. We played Russellville. And Squeaky Johnson did his thing, but we ended up beating them. They played us tough. We beat them. And then we played Lafayette in the championship. Jumped on them early and was winning the whole game. And then in the fourth quarter, man, legs just didn't have it. They went zone the last quarter, and which had been giving us problems all year. And they went zone, and we couldn't make a shot. And one guy got hot. He hit 4 threes in the fourth quarter. Hit 4 threes. I think we only scored 7 points in the fourth quarter. And they beat us. They beat us, man. Yep, they upset us. Biggest upset in state history. So people, still a sensitive subject for me, man.
Well,
If I could, in
well,
my career, man, if I could go back and redo one thing, it would have been that game. It would have been
yeah,
that game. But credit to them, man. They came out and did well. They got it. But yep, that was it, man.
yeah. Well, let's hop off of the hard topic. We'll hop back in. I know it's something you and I've talked about before, but tell me a little bit about your recruiting journey. I know you said UConn was the school that you really wanted to go to, but again, I think you did good for yourself. Stayed at home, and what you were able to do with those guys there. But tell me about your journey and what ultimately got you to Rick Pitino and U of L.
So man, a lot of coaches got fired, so I was really set on going to Tennessee. Tennessee was Coach Green was really recruiting me tough down to Tennessee, and I wasn't going to sign to the spring because I wanted to focus on my senior season, trying to win Mr. Basketball and trying to win me a state championship. I always wanted to try. I always heard about Daryl Griffin. My dad was swore by Daryl Griffin, man, and I'm like, I wanted to try to match his accolades. I wanted to win Mr. Basketball, and I wanted to win a state championship. And so Tennessee was recruiting me heavy. At the end of the season, coach got fired. I took a visit to Colorado. Coach Larry Gay, who used to coach at the University of Louisville, was trying to recruit me out to Boulder. Coach Ricardo Patton took a visit out there. It was solid, but just didn't really feel too right for me. I took a visit to University of Alabama, Birmingham. Andy Kennedy was down there with I can't remember the head coach's name. He and his dad were both the coach. He'll come back to me in a minute. Where else? Dayton was probably recruiting me the toughest. If I didn't go to U of L, I probably would have went to Dayton. That was a big time school. Coach Oliver Purnell was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of glad I didn't because he left to go to Clemson
Yep.
after 1 year, and so I
He
would
spent
have
a
been
long
there for
time at
1 year.
Clemson.
Yeah, he left after 1 year and went to Clemson. Um, but actually, man, I was sitting in my house one day. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was probably about a couple of days from calling Dayton to tell him I was coming. So I got a call from Rick Pitino. Man, he called me and said, "Hey, man, I got an open gym coming." I said, "I'd love to see you play. I've heard a lot about you, man. So I'd like to come see you play and come talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, cool, man." I was excited, super excited. And so, man, we had an open gym. We had an open gym in Male High School, and had all the guys, because it was loaded talent that year. Carlos Hurd, Cork Riggs had like all these D1 guys coming in, and we were playing. And man, got in. I actually didn't play well, man. Didn't play well at all. But he still offered me a scholarship to come and play, and that was it, man. Once he offered me a scholarship, I was like, "Oh, this is it." And so, man, that's how mine, man. I have to give a lot of credit, to the late great Junior Bridgman, man, who really was kind of pitching hard for me, man. To Coach Patino, he met with him and talked with him and told him about me and told him it was a player. Said, man, that it's really good. Said you need to go and watch him. Say he hasn't signed yet, but you need to watch him play. And so that's how it led to that open gym, man. Even though I didn't play well, but he vouched for me, man, and really helped me get my scholarship at the University of Louisville because I was going to Dayton. If I didn't go to Louisville, I was going to Dayton. So that's how my journey went, man. And I went to Louisville, and the rest is history.
Yeah, no, and again, it's a testament to a coach like a Patino. Like even though you said that you didn't play the best that you wanted to, again, you're still good, right? You still do some of the intangibles, and a coach like that can look at it and be like, okay, he may not be putting the ball in the basket, but look at the hustle, look at the effort, look at the communication, look at how he's talking on the floor. That's the culture I'm trying to build. So and I deal with a lot of kids nowadays who they look at it and their sign of if they're doing good or not is based on if the ball's going in the basket. And
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more to this game. If you can find ways to contribute without it actually having to be by putting the ball in the basket. I made the Kentucky All-Star team because I went out there and I know I'm out there with Scott Hunley, Tom Fredericks, Antoine Barber, a lot of guys like that who are known for scoring. So I went in that with the mentality of again, I'm averaging 18, 19, 20 a game. So I don't need to come out here and try to get it and focus so much on that. I went out there, I made the team because I rebounded and played defense. Everybody's just trying to score, so a coach can see that. It's ultimately not just about let me just put the ball in the basket. Let me see what kind of basketball player you are. Let me see what kind of person you are. And that's again a testament to you and all the work that you put in and just the person that you are. A brilliant mind like Rick Pitino is able to see that and like on the spot, like, hey, you're what we need. And ultimately he was right.
I think
So
that the thing that really drew him, man, when I was talking to him, he said, I knew he was a high character guy.
mhm,
That was something that I wanted to really build the program around, just being a high character. He said, but two, I like the way you competed. He said
mhm,
you took it upon competition when you were out there playing. Somebody got going on the other team and you switch and you want to guard the best player. He said
mhm,
that's when I knew. He said that's when I knew I was going to give you a scholarship. He said because I competition is what drives greatness. He said when I seen you want to switch and you want to play defense and compete. He said you missed dunks and you missed shots and stuff like that. He said but the fact that you were willing and wanting to compete with helping your team wanting to win. He said that's when I knew that I was going to give you a scholarship.
yeah. And again, like I said, it's the intangibles that again I no, nobody can ever make you have that motor, and you just have that competitive mindset. So,
Right. Right.
so you fast forward, you end up staying home, going to Louisville, and this is something where I kind of feel like our stories cross paths a little bit, right? So while you're there, your team ends up winning two conference championships. Your first one was it your freshman year, right?
My sophomore year.
Sophomore year, right? You didn't have as big a role that you wanted to have in that, and
Right.
again, my freshman year, we won conference. I didn't play in any. I played maybe. I was at the end of the game, the first round of the conference tournament. We were up by 20. I got in the last minute. I didn't play in the championship game. I might have played another 30 seconds in the semifinals. The team win that championship. You go ring day, you get that ring, but you don't really feel like that was that you were really a part of that team, even though, you're going to practice and your scout team and doing all of this, but in that moment, you didn't really have the season that you wanted to have. You didn't have the role that you wanted. So what lessons were you able to take from that to help you turn that around to get ready for the next season that you had?
Well, I won a conference title. We won a conference tournament. We didn't win a regular season title. We won a conference title my sophomore year, and that year was probably the roughest year for me. I was just going through a lot off the court, going through a lot on the court with the coach. I was always in the doghouse. And it taught me a lot about myself, man. I really had to look in the mirror, do some accountability. I felt like a lot of things weren't going my way, but what was I doing to contribute to things not going my way? And so I really had to take a self inventory, and I just felt like I was like an outcast on that team, man. And I went to practice every day, but I didn't really feel like I contributed to the championship, right? Like I was there, but like I wasn't bought in mentally to what the team was trying to do because I was so frustrated with my own individual situation. And so, man, I was happy I would get in for a little bit, but I was so, man, I was someplace else. And so, it's funny, man, when I got that, we won that conference tournament, I got the ring, and I probably would have went through mine in Ohio River, to be honest with you. And because that's how frustrated and how a part of the team, I just didn't feel like I was a part of it. And my dad said, "No, man, give it to me." So he kept all my memorabilia, man, and the nets and stuff that we cut down. And so it just drove me, man, that I wanted to be a part of something that I could really contribute to a championship. And I think coming into my junior year, I really just one, I wanted to just get out of the doghouse, and two, just really prove to myself like, you've got to work at it, man. Like, the things and lessons that you learn, being professional, being ready, staying ready. Because I was one, I don't want to say entitled, but like I'm working my butt off. I've earned my starting position, but because I made a one or two mistakes, I felt like things were snatched away from me unfairly. And, I just didn't know how to bounce back. I didn't know how to react to that. And so I'm like, man, I'm doing everything I did to really earn my position, earn my starting position. I'm doing the exact same thing. Why did things change? And I didn't understand that, man. I didn't understand professionalism. And so, man, my work ethic kind of had ebbs and flows. When things went good, my work ethic was great. When things didn't go well, it kind of like, well, what am I doing it for, man? Like it seemed like it's not even working anymore. And so I had to learn a level of professionalism, like whether it's going your way or not, you got to maintain a work ethic that's going to be constant and just be ready when your name's called. I said, because, if you're not working hard, when your number's called again, you're not going to be ready. So that was the thing I had to learn, and a less valuable lesson that I learned going into my junior year. And I also approached it from a mindset of like, this is a business. That's when it clicked for me. College was a business. It's not about being here and being a part of a team and rah rah like high school. No, this is a business. And I think when I started to approach it from that mindset, everything really shifted for me. I wasn't really. I was great with my teammates, and my coaches, but I wasn't really looking for like friendships or trying to be a part of something. I approached it as a job. I'm going to here. I'm going to practice. I'm going to get along, talk with everybody for the time I'm here. But when I'm not, I'm out of here. And I think that's when things shifted for me, and I started to understand and really treat it like a job, and not necessarily like just playing basketball. And so once I learned that, man, things started to roll for me, and I never forget. Me and my coach had a conversation one time. We were talking, and I had a game where I had like 28 points, and he was like, why don't you play like that all the time? And I'm like, well, coach, man, I said one, a couple of our key guys wasn't there. I said, so I had more opportunities and more shots. I said, but every time I make a mistake, I feel like I come out the game, I'm having to look over my shoulder. I said, well, with some key guys out, I felt like you left me out there to play through my mistakes. I said, didn't feel like I was looking over my shoulder. I said, because I was playing well, you just kind of let me play through things. I said, that's not always the case. And I said, so, it just varies for me. And he said, man, you know what? But he said, I understand. And from now, he said, that's how I want you to play. I don't care who's here. That's how I want you to play. And man, once we had that conversation, I took that as him giving me the green light. And man, I never looked back. It didn't make a difference who was out there. And man, it just our relationship changed, our conversations changed. Man, got to play through mistakes, through it just everything just changed from my mentality and from that conversation. And from then on, man, it like really just my confidence started to really get back to where it needed to be. And that's why I was able to have, the great year that I had my last year, man, because just from a simple conversation and just having the confidence to just go and play and not having to look over my shoulder or worry about anything, man, just going and just play basketball.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I think this is where a lot of our journeys kind of like intersected, and my story is very similar. Again, that conversation with the coach, you need that mindset shift to realize to just allow you to play free, because if you're worried about trying to play perfect so that you can stay on the floor, it's only going to make you play less perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's and that's one of the things. So you talked about it, that your relationship with your coach changed. You played for who probably a lot of people consider one of the most mentally and physically demanding coaches that have coached the college basketball game. And I know kind of what it was like, because one of his offspring, Jeff Morrow, was my high school coach. And a lot of that, that a lot of athletes have a hard time dealing with that kind of coach. And a lot
Mhm.
of parents don't want their kids dealing with that kind of coach. It's to get cussed out by a coach. You're 18-year-old freshman, your first time on campus, some eyes get big. But like you said, it's a business. His food on his table depends on how well you play. So
Right.
was was there a specific moment or practice, outside of, I guess, when you first went through that and realized that you were going to stick it out, that did something hit you that you were like, you know what, I can do this. I even though things aren't going the way they are, like right now, this is all brand new to me. My freshman year, was there a moment that that you realized the shift that was happening, and realized that this was going to be something that you ultimately, knew that you could get through at some point in time?
Well, it was a couple of things. It was one, and then it wasn't one, and then it was another one. So the one I kind of talked to you about earlier, man, was like the second one, when the conversation that we had of like, you know, when I had a good game and he called me into the office, it's like, why don't you play like that all the time? That was like the second one. And to kind of go back to that segment, and we won a conference championship my senior year that year. And like, it was just, the feeling was just completely different of winning the regular season title and winning the conference title, because I
Mhm.
was a bigger contributor. And even though I wasn't the best player on the team, I just felt like I was a part of something that I really played a really good role and contributed to a championship. So it just hit different and felt different. But to answer your question, man, my freshman year, it was probably the toughest year on the coach Pitino, because he was really trying to make guys quit, because he needed scholarships to bring in his players for the following year. And so he had like some Denny Crum guys that he just didn't really care for, that he just was trying to get rid of. So man, like the cardio and practice and individual instructions were like brutal, man. They were brutal, and it even had me questioning myself, like, man, if this is what high major D1 is like, I just don't know if this is for me, man. Like, I was just trying to figure out how to make it through each day. I just knew I
Mhm.
couldn't quit. That was one thing I couldn't do. I was like, I could not quit. I could not quit. I could not quit. I could not. No, I can't do it. So I just had to figure out how to make it through each day. And I think progressively, as I made it through the year, and I started earning a starting position. And so I started about half the games my freshman year. And when I got out there and played and I started doing well, that really kind of gave me a sense like, yeah, I belong here. I belong here. I'm playing alongside Reese Gaines, who's a future lottery pick. He's out here kicking me the ball, trusting in me to make a play. I'm like, I belong. And so that was really like the first instance for me to give me confidence that, like, yeah, this is where I belong. This is where I should be. And so just getting out there playing, man, like I said, earning a starting position and really building up that confidence, along with that experience of getting better each game and playing against guys that you kind of watched on TV in previous years. and just competing, man. Kind of going back to that characteristic of just wanting to compete and then holding your own with these guys. It only built my confidence and experience up to even working that much harder. So now that I'm competing with guys, now I want to be better than the guys, right? And so that was the thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. Again, I said I see it, and all of that. Just the overall journey, man. It was awesome to see the growth and everything that you went through, and you fast forward, and now it's your senior season. You guys open conditioning, and you get ready for practice, and you got the same goal like everybody else in America. Your goal, everybody's goal is to win a national championship. You tasted the NCAA tournament. You know what it's like, and you have a career that you get to look at your final high school game in the state championship. So again, now here we are, senior year, trying to do this, and you personally put together an incredible run, become Albuquerque Regional Player of the Year, lead your team to the Final Four. Ultimately, you guys end up losing that game to Illinois. I watched it on campus. I was still up in Indianapolis, sat there
Yeah.
watching it, cheering you on. Was like, because again, I'm a Carolina fan from my birth. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get the hometown versus Carolina for the national championship. So I watch it, but just kind of tell me, just kind of going through that moment, how was getting so close to something that you want? How were you able to bounce back from that unfeeling, to be able to continue your career? Because now you're getting ready for what's next after college life.
Well, man, to go back, man, to start that year, Taekwon Dean was coming off of hernia surgery. Ellis Miles was coming off patella tendon surgery. So our conditioning kind of shifted. We didn't hit the track as much as we normally do. Normally, we do a lot of 1 and 2 mile stuff broken up into different type of segments. But we went to the swimming pool a lot more that year. We did a lot of cardio in the swim pool just to kind of save joints. And when we started practice, we didn't hit the ground running like we always do. We kind of built up for about 2 to 3 weeks where we didn't jump right into just fast break, fast break. We kind of built up over time, and I really think that helped us at the end of the year. But man, going through the year, man, we had ups and downs. We played well, but we had peaks and valleys with the team, man. As far as like guys on the team, guys getting hurt, other guys having to step up, our coach getting sick, and so there was always adversity. But we had to find a way to get through it, man. And so going into the year, man, we really wanted to be in the Elite Eight, Sweet 16 or Elite Eight. That was our goal. That was where we wanted to be. And man, we were looking forward to playing Carolina out in Maui. It was like, man, because we know they were preseason #1. I was like, man, it's a great test for us. And we ended up getting upset trying to look ahead of Carolina. We ended up getting upset by Iowa, and we didn't get a chance to play them. But fast forward, man, we get through the season and we get to the tournament and we make our runs, man. Incredible game with West Virginia coming back, and now we're in the Final Four. We play against Illinois, and it's us right there. I was like, man, we finally going to get the match up against Carolina. And so we was like, Illinois was like, they kind of built just like us. They got 3 guards that can score the ball, and they got 2 bigs that rebound and run, just like we do. And man, Darren Williams and D Brown, man, played well, but Roger Powell was the difference. He had a heck of a game, and we didn't shoot the ball well. Francisco didn't play well, and so it was tough for us, man. But I felt like if we played them 10 times, that they would win 5, and we would win 5. But they just had that night on that particular night, and we just had an off night. But if I thought it was 2 evenly matched teams, but man, it was tough when it was over. It was over, man. But we were sad. Obviously, we wanted to win, but man, we were super excited that we had made it to a Final Four. We had represented the city. We had brought the University of Louisville basketball back because that was the ultimate goal when we first signed on. Because at the end of Coach Crum's years, the program had kind of started to go down a little bit, and we wanted to kind of bring it back to its prominence where it belonged. And it was cool to do that, man. Hang a banner at the university, take it to the Final Four, and really kind of bring Louisville back to its rightful place among some of the best programs in basketball. So it was kind of bittersweet, man. Obviously, it was the end of my career, end of my opportunity of playing with the guys, playing under Coach Pitino. As rough as it was sometimes, man, you kind of miss it once you're into it and you understand things. I miss playing with the guys, but at the same time now it was on to try to pursue a dream, right? You've dreamed about trying to make it to the NBA and playing professionally. So at the same time, you get excited about what the possibilities are to move forward with that too.
Yeah. And that is the ultimate goal. You want to leave a program better than it was when you got there.
Yeah.
And you guys were able to do that. So I highly commend you guys for that. And I will tell you, there is one play from that Illinois game that resonates with me. And I tell the story to people. And I said that one time I saw one guy, and it was Roger Powell. He shot a three
Yep.
and he
Top of the
tip
tier.
dunked it. And I was like, I've never seen anybody do that.
Yeah.
But again, that was again two evenly teams, man, and just y'all's guards and their guards just battling, man. Again, it's one of them things that you just sit back and just enjoy the beauty of the game that basketball gets you, man.
Yeah.
So so you finish your career and then you go on, you get the opportunity to play professionally. I think you played in summer league a couple of times,
Yeah.
and then even played overseas for a while. So again, you've seen this game at every level. You've seen it at high school, you've seen it at college, you've seen it at professional level. Kind of tell me what you think. Kind of compare and contrast how like practices. What are they like for an athlete? Because here, I'm coaching high school now, helping out, and I'm trying to motivate these kids to, like I said, have that motor that you describe. When you were playing with football. But these kids these days, a lot of them are too cool. They don't understand like how hard it's going to be at the next level. So what is your opinion of like kind of comparing and contrasting a high school practice versus a college practice versus professional practice?
So in a high school practice, when you look upon it at the time when you're there, you think you're working hard and the speed of what you're practicing, but you're 10 times bigger and stronger than everybody else, and some of the other kids that you have on the team are just they're just there to fill out the team, right? They're not really your top athletes, but um, nonetheless, man, you're working hard, and it's just everybody's not a top tier athlete. Like when you get to the collegiate level, and the pace and the physicality is not what it is. And so when you go from high school to college, everybody's good. The pace of play picks up, the physicality picks up, the length of the court picks up, the intensity of the coach. Like I said, it switches from being on the team to now it's a job. Right now, it's a job. Everybody's good. Everybody can jump. Everybody is playing hard. Everybody's really competing for time, right? Because everybody that was there used to be the man in some capacity, shape, form, or fashion on their team. So everybody thinks that they're good. And so one thing about that is you really learn what true work ethic is, right? In high school, you work hard, you work in your preseason, and when basketball season's over, it's it. When you get to college, basketball season's never over. You got in season and out of season. And so that was the thing I learned quickly. Like once the season was over, like, no, you still got practice, individuals, weightlifting, you got conditioning. Like that was the thing. Like it never stops. And so going from high school to college, it's an adjustment to the work ethic, to the intensity, to the physicality, and to just the way that guys compete. It's a different level of competition. Like the competitiveness really jumps when you drive to the collegiate level because everybody's good. And I think jumping from collegiate to the professional ranks, the physicality is a little bit more. Playing against grown men, but you kind of used to the physicality, the speed. Is a little faster because now you're amongst the elite of the elite. But I think from the most important thing or the most notable thing is the skill set and IQ because everybody can think the game. In college, everybody can't think the game. Everybody's good, everybody's an athlete, but everybody doesn't really have the cerebral to really think the game the same. Everybody doesn't have a particular skill set. But when you get to the professional ranks, it's very rare that guys don't have cerebral thoughts, especially in Europe. Everybody can think the game, and like they're good at making you pay for your mistakes, right? Like you leave a guy wide open at the professional rank, the guy's open, guys will knock that down. Whereas in college, you leave a guy open, it's a chance he might make, but it's a chance but professional ranks, you leave especially a guy that's a specialist at shooting. The way the game's going now, everybody can shoot. You leave a guy open, you make a mistake, don't communicate, don't rotate, you're gonna pay for it at the professional ranks. Guys know how to pick up your tendencies. You like to deny, guys gonna read, communicate, and hit you back door. Like guys know how to think the game and are real cerebral, and also the physical size of guys when you play on professional ranks. Like sometimes in college you have small ball. Some teams may have like some big men or some slender big men. Like when you play at professional rank, you are playing against men. Like it's physical. Like the way they set screens are different. Like they are going to get their guards open to be able to do what they do. So like a pick and roll, like they're going to hit you on the pick and roll. And so just moving from that ranks, I would say the IQ and again, the physicality jumps up a little bit, but just the sheer size of guys on professional ranks is like noticeably different than in the college ranks.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I didn't make it all the way to professional, but the speed of it, even you can kind of look at how the game has changed since then. Like, we came through. We're 6'5", 6'6". Nowadays that's a point guard.
Point guard, yeah.
Guys are just getting bigger. So,
And it was even more interesting, man, because I played in the Euro League, with top league in Europe for a few years, but then I also got a chance to play in the NBA game where my European team came over and played. We played against the New Jersey Nets.
mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, man, we played, they had the Lopez twins, they had Chris Humphrey, they had T. Will, who was at Louisville, they had Devin Smith, and it wasn't the guards that we had trouble with, but I mean, Robin Lopez and Brooke Lopez. It was more so Brooke Lopez, excuse me. Brooke Lopez runs the floor like a deer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talking about like the NBA fast break, like the pacing with these guys, like, and he's just a massive human being, man. Chris Humphrey, you talk about getting hit by a screen from Chris Humphreys, like, man, these are like massive dudes, man. And so it was cool, man, to see just the different level to go from EuroLeague to the NBA with the physicality. Obviously, the game wasn't as spread out and small ball, kind of like it is now. It's more so you still had a lot of big guys that played inside and played with physical intentions down on the block. But man, it's different levels, man. It's definitely different levels.
Yeah, that Chris Humphrey screen took you back to your Muhammad Ali days, and your coach called for you to run that slant across the middle.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, no, but again, that's why well, known you for almost 30 years, man. I respect you. I respect your opinion and everything. And I know you know this game. You've seen this game. You got two boys. I got two boys. They're both, all four kids are kind of looking at potentially going through the journey, following in their father's footsteps of playing this game. And again, your opinion means a lot to me. What would be some advice that you would give my kids as they're trying to get ready for their journey into the sports world?
um, the advice I would get as they go into the sports world, well, tell them follow your own path, right? Like, don't compare your journey or your path to somebody else's. I always remind kids of that. And I show a lot of kids like they get caught up in the rankings or they get caught up into how somebody else's early success or what somebody else might be doing. Just focus on your own journey so that you continue to improve, continue to work, be passionate about what you do. Because if you're not passionate about what you do, it doesn't matter. So make sure you enjoy it, have fun, and be a kid too, man. Like don't. It's a lot of sacrifice and it's a lot of work that goes into it, but don't get so caught up in it that it takes away from your human nature side of other things that you like to do. But I would tell you to just run your own race, enjoy your own journey, be passionate about what you do, work hard, and probably most important thing is compete. Really, really enjoy competing, because if you don't enjoy competing, it's going to be tough to succeed. But make sure you listen to your pops, man. Your pops has been on the road, been on the journey that you've been on, man. But just enjoy it, man. Work hard, enjoy it, listen, and be a sponge, man. Be a sponge. Be curious and always wanting to get better. Always wanting to improve upon the improvements and the successes that you have, but just continue to want to improve and be a sponge of knowledge. Want to ask questions, ask people how to get better. What do I need to work on? Just continuously want to improve in all aspects, not only basketball, but just as a human being as well, man. Just be a sponge and want to just absorb as much knowledge as you can. Work and compete.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And that's one thing that I really enjoy about being able to do this and talking to, guys like you and everything because, I'm dad. People hear my kids hear me all the time.
Yeah,
That's just dad talking again, but to get
yeah,
to hear things from other people, that is the beauty of this, because I firmly believe for this generation that's coming through, a lot of them don't really know what they don't know, and so they know
right,
what people are telling them, so one thing that I like to kind of always ask, who are you listening to? Are you listening to somebody who has been where you want to go or is where you want to go, or are you listening to that person that you're paying to teach you all these drills so that and they're giving you the responses that's going to keep you paying them more and coming back,
right,
so
right.
so I appreciate that. So,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
again,
And you also
I,
got to watch. You also got to watch who's training your kid, right? Because that's one thing I always tell parents. Like, yeah, it's one thing to train your kid, man, but like, look at what they're training your kid on, and then watch what your kid does when they're playing. Because if nothing's translating, then there's a break somewhere in that line. Because if you're teaching your kids something, you want to see that confidence. You want to see those things being brought to the game, right? Because if it's not something that's going to translate into their game, then you waste your time and your money, man. So you want to make sure that the person and the things that are being taught to your child are translating over into their basketball game, and not just some nursery or babysitting where you're paying somebody just to teach a kid tricks that they can do on the playground and not something that they're going to implement into their basketball game. I seen on social media a basketball trainer. He saw a clip that Kyrie Irving was doing, and then he broke down the move and like had these drills, and I'm like, man, what the move that Kyrie did is a special talent. It wasn't anything fundamental that a kid needs to know
Mhm.
at this age. Like that is something like you like trying to teach a kid a underneath the basket one hand reverse layup. Like that's not something. Don't teach my kid that in our training session. Make sure my kid knows how to do fundamental dribbling, fundamental jump shots, footwork, proper footwork. Make sure he knows how to do that before you start teaching him all this other stuff that you see an NBA player do. Like let's work on what he's actually going to do in the game, and not trying to teach him something that is Kyrie Irving-esque that he's not really going to do.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you. I look at it and I see these Instagram trainers and they're teaching kids 8 move dribble packages, and I'm like, you're never gonna do that in the game. I'm gonna give you one move. I may give you the counter at that point in time. If I'm not open, I need to pass the ball. I need to go away, set a screen,
Bingo,
set a down screen. Let me slip something. I
bingo.
don't need to give you an in and out hezzy cross between spin. Like that's too much. Because all that time is just and like you said, I am very particular about not only who I let train my kids, but I've had some experiences. I'm particular about who I let even just play with my kids, because you get some people, again, people who haven't played this game. I've been extremely fortunate enough to be able to play this game at the level I did and to know the people that I know. And that's what allows me to, you know, ask people like you, I can, ask people these questions like, hey man, where is the game at now? Is this useful? Because again, it's just, I want to make sure that my kids have the best chance to succeed if this is what they choose to do with their life,
Right.
right? So, again, I totally agree with you. And it's, for me, I want my kids to learn the game the right way. We don't need this. If you can't shoot a left-handed layup, the last thing I need to teach you is a reverse. Especially because again, that Kyrie move, that's him reacting in real time, situational. If I
Exactly.
teach you that, what are you going to do in the game? This is your muscle memory. This is what you're going to revert to. And that reverse that you're going to shoot, nah, the big's there and he just beat that. Right. I want you to learn how, like you said, the development, the skill. And that's what, again, I'm playing the long game with my kids, right?
Mhm.
I'm looking at where you're at 2 years from now. Like you said, a lot of those kids who are the top ranked kids right now probably aren't going to be the top ranked kids by the time they become juniors and seniors, right? Because, you may be the bigger kid, the stronger kid, the faster kid, and you've gotten by off of that. But now we got to develop you. Now we got to teach you how to play within a system, and if you can't do that, that's how people pass you by. So, but ultimately, awesome, man. I appreciate all the good words of wisdom. Want to jump into just really quick, pick the pace up. Game I call one word. Maybe I'll give you two. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question and you just give me the first word that pops in mind. Again, I kind of stole this from you, kind of tweaked it a little bit.
Yep.
But all right. So I want you to describe the atmosphere of playing in the male manual rivalry.
Epic.
All right. Describe the because again, you got this opportunity as well. Describe playing in the environment of the Louisville, Kentucky rivalry.
Dream.
Does it change based on where you're at? If you're in Lexington or if you're in Louisville?
Yes.
All right. Toughest opponent, high school and or college?
Individual player.
Individual. Individual.
Dwayne Wade.
Ooh, yeah.
Dwayne Wade.
All right. And I think you kind of answered this before, but I'm gonna let you. Uh, I think you say UConn, maybe a little bit of Tennessee, Dayton. If none of those, who else? Where else do you think you might have ended up at?
If I didn't end up at Louisville,
Yep.
I'd have went to Dayton. If
Okay.
I had my choice, I'd have went to UConn. But
Yep.
realistically, I would have went to Dayton if I didn't go to
Okay.
Louisville.
All right. And you may have kind of hit on this earlier. What is the game that haunts you the most today?
State title for sure. Losing state title to Lafayette,
Yeah.
it's definitely one that I don't. It don't keep me up, but it's never not in the back of my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Game, and I think I saw you on the player's perspective the other day answer this, but I'm gonna ask you again. Game you get asked about the most.
Tie between senior night and West Virginia. Probably West
Yeah.
Virginia though.
Yeah, Pittsnoggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, like I said, I wanted to just throw out, like I said, these little quick ones. So, what do you describe playing in front of that Freedom Hall crowd?
Man, exhilarating. Very exhilarating. Adrenaline rushing. Crowd, the floor shaking. Yeah, exhilarating.
All right. Playing in front of an NCAA tournament atmosphere.
Oh, nothing like it.
Nothing
Nothing
like
like it. Nothing like
crazy. And I was surprised when you get that police escort from the hotel.
it.
That
Yeah,
was amazing. So I was like I
man.
said, man, I just wanted to kind of pick your brain really quick. So again, like I said, a lot of this stuff that I do, it's not just me. I got a team behind me, and a lot of my sponsors are what help make this thing happen. So I appreciate my sponsors. I thank them for everything that they do. Today's sponsor, you may have a little bit of knowledge about, but today's sponsor for the episode is proudly sponsored by the Louisville Legends. Louisville Legends is a basketball training company built in Louisville, Kentucky, with the purpose of intention from the ground up. Their philosophy is simple but powerful: development first, scholarships over trophies. At Louisville Legends, the focus isn't just winning games today, it's about preparing athletes for long term success, both on and off the floor. Through intentional coaching and structured training, they emphasize skill development, discipline, basketball IQ, and the character it takes to compete at the next level. Their mission goes beyond drills and workouts. Louisville Legends is committed to helping athletes create real opportunities for their future, whether that means earning scholarships, developing leadership skills, or learning the work ethic required to success in life. At Louisville Legends, they believe in building athletes the right way, investing in the future, not just wins. To learn more about the Louisville Legends and just how they are developing the future and the next generations of athletes, connect with them online on Instagram, or you can follow Dion Lee directly. They are truly shaping the future of this game. So the Louisville Legends, development first, and the biggest thing for them, future over trophies. So all right, Larry. Now, again, I appreciate you for taking the time coming out here and just sharing your story and just giving your perspective and just the openness and honesty that you spoke with me about. So, between my sponsor, Louisville Legends, and you, Larry O'Bannon, I thank you both for making this possible, giving somebody like me the opportunity to speak with you and just kind of hopefully together we can, shape the future of this game, because this game and sports overall gave us so much. But before we close things out, I always like to give people, they come on here to give me their time, the opportunity to kind of share with me kind of, what you got going on, what you're working on, whether that's, I said, we got the Players Perspective podcast. So go ahead, get on with, let everybody know where they can get that in, where you're going with it, anything else you got going on.
Well, I appreciate having me on, Dwayne, man. It's always a pleasure, man, to be able to chop it up with you. But yes, people can check out the Players Perspective Uncensored podcast, hosted by Larry O'Bannon, available on your favorite podcast platform, available on YouTube. Check us out, man. Rate us, leave review, subscribe, and man, we continue to grow as a podcast. And yeah, that's it, man.
Awesome. And
New
I tell you,
episode every week, every Monday. We dropping every Monday, man.
awesome. Yeah, man. I tell you, I listen to you. So before we close things out, again, for everybody who's listened that took a little bit of their day to kind of jump in here and stay with us, I appreciate you taking that time. If you had something we said touched with you, like us, subscribe. Again, we're everywhere you get your content. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere that content is available. We're here to try to get it to you, because at Beyond the Game, More Stories, we believe everybody has a story to tell that somebody needs to hear. So we're trying to be that platform to link the voice with the ears. So if you want more content from us, again, we're available on the internet. It's www.btgms.com. Just Beyond the Game, More Stories. Or if something he said, or a story that Larry told you, somebody who could benefit from hearing it, we ask you share it with them. If you find somebody who just likes sports or storytelling, we ask you, you share this episode with them. But go on there, please go out, support the Players Perspective podcast. Like you said, he drops episodes every Monday. And again, we thank you for your time, Larry, my brother. I appreciate you coming on here, spending a little bit of your day with me, just kind of chopping it up, thinking back to, when our knees didn't hurt as much and our backs didn't feel the way they do. But again, so I appreciate you. And for everybody out there, just kind of keep in mind, man, this sports world is what it is. It teaches us all life lessons every day. Even though at some point in time, we'll all hang up our jerseys, untie our shoes for the last time, but the lessons that we learn from this game carry on for a lifetime. So until next time, we'll catch you beyond the game.
Appreciate you for having me.